Okay, I have made some modification in my database controller because to save data within dataset, we should execute select command, select SQL command. So I have a select SQL string that will select all records from user table, select steric from users. Once I execute this SQL command, it will select all the records from user table. So, and then once I pass the SQL query in it with the table name. So previously I didn't have the table name parameter. And what great thing it does, it helps us identifying the tables names. So once I pass the query, I can also pass the name as well, so we can identify what the table name is. So I know the table name and its columns, because dataset will contain all the columns that select commands will return to us. So now you see the database collection opened statement, and the SQL1 data fills out the SQL query record within DS and assign it a table name, and then close the database and return from this method dataset. So now we have done with the database controller. Now let's output this data from the database into a view page. So we will able to see the web view of our data. So for that, we have to go to home controller, which is responsible for index page and privacy page logic. So I have made some things in it. I have declared a database controller in it. I have just an object with the name user table, and I have executed the SQL query by typing dbcontroller.select users. This is a string that executes select all from users, and here I given the table name to this select query command, because it will return the data. So now next, we know that dataset consists of uh, tables. Okay, it consists of collection of tables. So to assign a table, we have an object in C#.NET, which is data table, and you can assign table from a dataset by typing the typing the dataset name dot tables property, and then you tells the user the name of the table you would like to assign. So I know that we have given a table name users, so I just write it here. So now I have the once the data set gets the data from the SQL execution command, it will create the tables and the user table as well, and I will able to save the data table as users in it. So if in a worst case, sometimes SQL query won't save any data, the table would get null, so we will have some problems with it, but we will discuss in coming videos, not here, to save time and for better understanding. So now we have a user table which will consist of all columns that my SQL table consists of, and then to pass this data, to pass this table from this controller class to our web page index.cshtml, I have actually a few options available, which is view data or view bag or temp data. These are three mechanisms we will discuss in upcoming videos. For simplicity, we have view. They are all same, not that much complicated, but for just be precise with our goal, I use viewbag, and which allow us to give any name by typing period and any name as a property, and we can save any type of data inside it. You can say new string or new list, type users, whatever. It's a very great it's a very great object. Viewback is very great object. It helps us passing data from controller to view page, and it just simplify things. I can't say it better. So now I have given a property users and assigned the whole user table in it. I also given another property greetings with hello world. I can say this. Oh, hello, Mr. Techbuck Tram. And that's it. I have just returned the user here, which is unnecessary. So as I already have passed the data to user table within to viewbag.users. So now I am done with the home controller, so I can able to pass the data, so I can show the data to the view page, and my view page is right now index.cshtml. So now let's look at how our view page currently rendered as in web page in the browser. To check that out, check this out, I would type .NET run and open up the browser and type localhost 5000 or 5001. Okay, now you just see the welcome page. I don't get any type of data that I want, so let's go back to our index page, and we know that we have passed our view data, passed our user table in the view bag. So simply show that data in view page. You just have to again type it out, view bag dot users, and we know that it's a type of data table. So we can simply say that data table. We can simply declare object data table users is equals to viewbag.users. So now we have the users table in view page, and to output this, to output the data from this user, let's make sure if we have the contents inside our user table. To check it out, we should go to the SQL server. We have SQL server, and if we type out select all from users, I would see there is nothing inside it. So let's add some records into it. Insert. To do that, we should use insert query, insert into users values. First name, we should the column name, first name, last name, dob about me, and the values, I should say Taya Rana and we know the date. We know the date format is year, month, date. I am a DB developer, and let's add more records by carving this out. And add some more names. James, James Rock, 951 11 25. I am backend developer. Tim Cook, 510101. I am a CEO. So let's keep with 3 records, and maybe I can duplicate them. Okay, that's it. I have 5, so I get 3 records, and I have got 6 records in it. Together I can type select all from users. I have a 5. I can see those records in it. Okay, so now let's get the data from SQL from our user table, and by using a for each loop. In view pages, you can use programming, C# programming, using by tapping a operator and open out your curly braces and type any number of C# program statements you like. So to print out the user table, we will use for each loop for each, and we know that a table consists of rows, so we'll have to say for each actually automatically prints out all the elements inside any object. So but we should know that what the unit of a data object is. So a unit of data table is rows, so we can say that rows, data rows, row, oops, data row in users dot rows. So we can name it as, but we should tell the data type and a name, a temporary name, to identify those rows. They are current. I am assuming as C row, or maybe current row. Let's say current row in each user dot rows, and Next we're gonna print it out the content. So once we come into the rows, we can easily able to access the columns inside it. So we know that we have columns are first name, last name, DOB, and about me. So I can type it out as current row, and column name, I know the first name. Okay, and I can use that the first name. Okay, so to simplify it a bit better, we can, because we want to show this as HTML format, so we will keep the program coding to this line, and we will output this as HTML. So we have to use add operator for each single line of C# statement. In view page, we should use add operator. So now I have accessed the first name in my user table, and then I would like to print again the last name. I just press this straight line character like L, and I take on the last name from user table, and then I take the about me, the DOB, and then I take out the about me. That's it. So now I accessed all those HTML, all those columns inside the user table. Now you can see there is some error. I can see let's to fix this out. I just put this inside a div tag. Okay. So now it means that I am printing this C# programming as HTML within div tag. Let's check it out how it works. I go to my page and I put F5. So you can see this. All the data has been printed, and maybe there's one mistake I have done out. It's having this. Yep. Now let's see what happened. I hit F5, and you can see this data is showing me as center line. Let's change the line of it as style. Maybe I should have it in the back. Because maybe I'm creating multiple div tags, which is not good. So I should put this inside a paragraph. Yep, looks better, I think. I have 5. Oops. Now I should send this out. I should left align this div tag by pressing style, text align, CSS property, center. I hit F5. Something happens. Oops. Oh. oops, it should work together. Okay, now I have all the contents printed on my HTML page. So I think we have achieved our first goal, that is connecting SQL database to our web application, MVC web application, and we have shown the data. And let's add the element of interactivity within this page by having a button add user or delete user. Okay, let's do it. I add the button add user, I give it ID, add user, I add another button delete user. I say del user. That's it. So I have two buttons and both of them are doing nothing at the moment. So what we will do here, by pressing add user, we will execute an insert query command, and by pressing delete user, we will execute a delete user command, and we will ask the user ID as well. So this delete user looks a bit something. Don't worry, you will understand everything bits by bits. Anything can be understandable. Don't worry. Now let's connect an SQL command with the add user. We will have to write an SQL command here. Maybe we will execute a method. Yeah, I think that's a better thing. So let's write out a method, public void insert add user. About add user, I just simply call the method. Let's take it out. I take it outside. By taking it outside, I can easily able to access the database controller. DB controller dot users, DB controller dot insert user. Okay, so I would say return let's make it as a string. So now we have to call this method from here. To add user and delete user functionality, we should have a form which consists of fields of all these columns: first name, last name, DOB, and about me, and this form should answer three things: about its controller, about its action, about its method. Because in any form you tells whether you are getting data, whether you are sending data. Since in this part, once we add the user, we should be sending the data to the database. So it's another kind of concept, and that is HTTP, that is widely known as HTTP request. HTTP requests are things that determines if your data is sending or you are receiving the data. So since your browser is stateless, it doesn't have any state, so you should determine every time with with a note that I am sending the data, I am receiving the data. This is how it can aware of that. So to determine that we are sending the data, we should use get request, post request. If we are sending the data, we should use, receiving the data, we should use get request. So let's write it out without wasting any time. I should write form, and I write ASP controller property, and I should write ASP action method that responsible for this form logic, and the method is definitely a post method. So now I have written my form. I should add those input buttons by having an input tag and type of text, and our labels as well, first name, and I have line breaks as well, and I have an ID as well to identify this. First F name. I copy these two lines for other three columns. Two, four. First name, last name, IDs, L name, DOB, DOB, and about me. About me. Okay. So now we have the text boxes, but they are not performing any action because I haven't determined that add user is within form. If as I put the add user button in this and I set the type as submit, it should start functioning definitely. I hit refresh, I hit press add user, and it just submitted, but because I have not properly determined the method, as we're going to execute this method, insert user. So let's call it, the action method is home, our control class is home, and our action method is add user. Okay, now let's see if it works out or not. We have not determined to identify these fields.